Yeah. Hi Lila, I'm good, thanks. How are you? Hope you're enjoying your half term. Yeah, I know that feeling. I know that feeling. But at least you get to do it on your own terms. You don't have to go to a school to do it. So it's slightly better. Slightly. Yeah, I think we'll get started. So I found a bunch of new style of questions from... Hello Mar, how are you? From kind of older papers that you might not have seen before. So this is technically old spec, but it's all the same maths, but it's different styles of question which I thought could be quite useful for you. I do remember the kind of topics you asked me for. Hey Evie, how are you? But I figured we'd do some kind of different style of questions to try and throw you off course a little bit, because you guys are pretty strong. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well, I had a bunch of classes cancel on me, which might sound bad, but it means I have to rest. Dying maths mock so soon. I know, but I'm sure you guys are going to do fine. You'll be fine. Fine. And even if you aren't, at least then you'll know which topics you struggle with and you can practice those. So either way, it's a good thing. 100%. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Still scared. You'll be fine. Actually, there is something I wanted to talk to you guys about. The kind of maths department at my school put together a few predicted papers as well. So I could actually do a few of those on stream too. So that could be quite interesting. The style of question is kind of weird though, which might be a good thing. It might throw you off a little bit. But for today, we've just got a bunch of kind of different styles of questions. And again, I got these from fairly old past papers, which I'm fairly certain you haven't gone back to 2013 before. So this is kind of interesting. They're from a slightly... Again, the maths all stays the same, but it kind of throws you off a little bit. Your mock is next Wednesday. Okay, best of luck. Best of luck. Okay, so let's get started. So we have point P has coordinates 5, 7, and we have point M is 1, 2.5. M is the midpoint of the line PQ. So Q is going to be somewhere, let's say down here. And all we need to do is work out the coordinates. There are two ways to do it. One way is kind of using the actual formula for the midpoint, which is the fact that you add the two x coordinates together, so x1 plus x2, and divide it by 2. And then you also do the same thing here. However, there is a slightly, in my opinion, easier way. All you have to do is, if you look at the x coordinates for the midpoint and point P, there's a difference of 4, which means there should also be a difference of 4 from this one. Can you take P from M? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. So if you look at x, it goes from 1 to 5. That's a difference of 4. So I'll write that down just to make it slightly easier. So all we're going to do is, for Q, you'd also have to add 4 to the x value. So the x coordinate is definitely... subtract 4 from 1, which is negative 3. Okay, so all we have to do there is subtract 4. A difference of 4, yeah. So the reason why it'll also be a difference of 4 is because the midpoint, right, is directly between P and Q, right? Which means it should have the same distance between each other. So what that means is if you add 4 to the x coordinate, you'd have to add 4 to the x coordinate from Q as well. The other way to do this, by the way, is you can also make like a big triangle, and you know that the distance will be the same, but that's a bit more complicated. Yeah, no worries. With the y value, we can do the exact same. So what do we add to 2.5 to get 7? It's 4.5. So what we're going to do is subtract 4.5, which would be negative 2. Yeah, negative 2. Nice and easy, and that's the coordinates for Q. 2-mark question. Yeah. Starting off relatively okay, but there's a question later on I think might be interesting. Circle theorem question. This one I also thought was quite interesting. It is a non-calculated question. So the circle shows a circle inside a square. ABCD is a square of side 10 centimeters, so all these sides are 10 centimeters. Work out the total area of the shaded regions in terms of pi. So when you look at this, you might think straight away that the shaded region is just going to be the square, subtract the circle. And you'd be 100% correct. That's exactly what you need to do. So the square is quite easy, right? Since all the sides are 10 centimeters, then we can just do 10 times 10, and that'll be it. Now, what about the area of the circle, though? That bit was slightly trickier. I'm wondering if anyone's seen that yet. Again, it's not like super difficult, but it might be tricky to see. So if you have a look, 25 pi is correct. Radius of 5. 10 is the diameter. Well done. So 10 is the whole width of the circle, so the radius would be 5. So all of you are correct. So you're just subtracting pi r squared. So pi times 5 squared. So all you're doing is doing 100 minus 25 pi. And we can't simplify that any further. So that is the answer. Nice and quick. 3-mark question. Not too bad. Perfect. Box plots. So I find that the statistics side of your GCSE is generally neglected by your schools. So this might be slightly trickier for you. So we have a box plot, gives information about the wages of a group of 16-year-old workers and 18-year-old workers. If you'd like me to quickly go through what a box plot is, then let me know. But yeah. With the compare the distribution, you get... Okay, never mind, I didn't actually write it out. You get... Basically, you need to do 2 points, okay? When you compare distributions, the two things you're comparing is the spread. This is where you get your marks, and average. Good, good, good. Okay. Both of you you're both correct, yeah. So, you need to compare the spread, and yes, interquartile range, well done. Okay, so with the spread, some students use the range. The range is not the best measure of spread, okay? The interquartile range is better because it's taken into account like 75% of the values, which is a lot better. So yeah, you're going to be comparing the interquartile range, and in this case the median. And this will give you 3 marks always. But you can do it in as few steps as humanly possible. So with the interquartile range, you need to calculate it. In fact, this was 4 marks, because you need to work out the IQR. So we need to read it off. So again, this is the lower quartile, that's the upper quartile. So the range is, the problem with the range is it takes into account extreme values, right? So with the range, I look at this value and this value. The problem is, if you look at how far away this range is, that's a big difference. In this box plot here, that's 75% of the values, right? Oh, sorry. Yeah, the interquartile range takes into account 75% of the values, right? Because this is the bottom 25%, this is the top 75%. Fair enough. So the upper quartile takes into account 3/4, right? And this is 1/4. I see what you mean, actually, yeah. What I meant to say is that it goes up to 3/4 of the values, but you're right, if you subtract them then it would be 50% of the values. But the idea, yeah, it is split into 25%. I see what you mean now. I think I worded that wrong. The interquartile range takes into account 50% of the values, but the interquartile range is 3/4, yeah. You're correct, Evie. Perfect. So yeah, all you need to do is work out the interquartile range. So for me, that's quite easy. So I think it goes up in 205. So 5, 10, 15, 20. Yeah, so it goes up in 5s. So this would be 210. Subtract, that would be 130, which is £80. And the interquartile range for these dudes over here is 280 minus 210, which is 70. So yeah, the 16-year-old workers have a larger spread of data. So you would just write 16-year-olds and the 18-year-olds have a higher average. Which in this case is the median. Is this the salary or no wage? Okay. Okay. So yeah, all you have to do is compare the spread, so the interquartile range, and the median. So the reason why the interquartile range is better is that it doesn't take into account extreme values. So if we look here, the higher values are quite far away from the majority of the data. So it might not be an outlier per se, but it's not really fair if one person's earning £380, whereas most people are earning around this amount of money. So that's why the interquartile range is better, generally speaking. Yeah. Now it says here, there are 200 workers who are 16 years old. Work out an estimate for the number of these workers whose wage is £130 or more. So I'm just going to write 200 people. And if we look at 130, that is... Actually, let me get rid of this quickly. That is this value here. So if you notice, that's the lower quartile. So how would I work out the number, like an estimate for the number of people who earn above £130? For this, you just need to know what the lower quartile represents. But I'm interested to see if any of you know. Quarter of 200? I see why you got that. I see why you think that. It's not you're on the right lines, but not quite. So remember, it's more than that. So how many people earn more? I know how, but can't type. Yeah, it's kind of hard to type it out. So, yeah. For the number of these workers whose wage is £130 or more. So as Mar said, this lower quartile represents a quarter of the people. So a quarter of the people earn below £130. So 3/4 earn above £130. So all you're going to do is do 3/4 of 200. So 1/4 of 200 is 50, so times by 3 is 150 people. Does that make sense? Because that was a bit wonky. (0.25 times y is 200. Good, okay. This next question, the reason why I was quite excited when I saw it... Oh, yeah. You are close, Mar. You probably would have got 1 mark. Not 2. It's 25% of value. Yeah, perfect. With this next question, I haven't seen it in a while, which makes me wonder if they're going to bring back this style of circle theorem question this year. Maybe. Potentially. But I do think it's a relatively interesting question. Have any of you seen something like this before? To be honest, if you've done a question that looks like this, you'll know exactly how to do it. Which is cheating. I'm joking. But don't say. Right. How about this? I'll give you a little bit of time to have a think about what you would do. It's a bit tricky, I'm not going to lie. It's a 5-mark question, by the way. 5 marks. So I expect to do 3 steps, because again you need to give a reason for each stage of your working out. So you get some marks for the reason. Remember, if you don't give reasons, they will just give you 0, even if you get the right answer. So bear in mind that. I'll give you a little bit of time. Is anyone completely lost? If you are, that's completely fine because this is a tricky question. I think I have an idea of what to do, yeah? Angles in a segment. Interesting. You can use angles in a segment, potentially. Then you make an angle subtended. Interesting. I'm not saying nothing. I'm not saying anything. Do you draw a triangle from the line? Do you mean from... I'm not saying anything, Evie. I'm not saying anything. I'm not doing anything. What do you mean by that, Ma? Do you mean from P to O, or from like P to R, or M to T? I mean, I have to give some hint. From the point O, draw a line straight down. Isn't there already a line straight down? As in from O to where? Or is it not on one of the points? I think I finally found a question that you guys are struggling with. Finally, all it took was going back to 2012. 11 years ago. From O to P. OSP is OS 48, yeah? I mean, it gives you that. Find the O from 180 and then double it to make the new... I'm liking this. Oh. Ah, interesting. It's an interesting move, Lila. Interesting move. I'm not giving anything away because I think Evie will rip my head off. So I'm just going to stay quiet for a little bit. I want to say that you guys are doing very intelligent things. Even if they aren't right, they're intelligent things, and I like that. Have a think about what circle theorems you can see already. Draw a line from O to M. You could. I would find it with a piece. Honestly, you probably would. Yeah. Ooh. I'm not gonna lie. If you had it in front of you, it might be a bit easier. A 90-degree angle. Interesting. Oh, okay. I think I can see where you're coming from. I think one of you said alternate segment theorem. That's interesting. Potentially get you somewhere. I feel like I need to start writing soon. Ma, that is something you could definitely do. Okay, I think I should start. RSP equals SPM. Not quite. Okay. Ma, you're correct. That is one way to do it. So I actually would have done it a slightly different way. Okay, I'm going to start going through it. This is the way I did, right? But two of you said alternate segment theorem, and that actually makes a lot more sense. So you can see that this line OS is a radius, and this is a tangent, so they would overall meet at 90 degrees. So then if you do 90 minus 48, you do get 42 degrees. And alternate segment theorem would say that this would then have to be 42 degrees as well. That was clever. I actually did it, or I would have done it in a slightly different way. So when I looked at this question just now, what I was looking at is if I draw a line from O to P, which is what I thought you meant initially, Ma. Yeah, exactly, you can get that. These lengths are the same because they're also the radius, which means this angle here is also 48 degrees. Because remember, the base angles in a triangle and an isosceles triangle is the same. I thought that's what you meant. That's why I was like, from where? From O to R? O to S? But oh yeah, that makes sense. Damn, you guys did not bad. and then you just work out what this angle is, which would be 84 degrees. And then angles subtended at the centre are twice at the radius, so you'd also get 42 degrees. Both of which are completely fine. So I was happy with that. You also know that this side has to be 90 degrees, right? But we're only looking for this angle here. So what I would have done is I would have drawn another line from O to M, which, that's kind of bad. But what it does is it cuts this angle in half. So this angle here is 21. This angle here is also 21. So then all you're doing is doing 90 minus 21 to get your final answer of 69 degrees. So either way you did it, you would have got that. So I should probably write out the reasonings because this is a bit messy, right? Yeah. Either way would have been fine. I did hope that. So I'm thinking that they might actually do something like this year. I think. Whoops. Also, actually, there's a question I wanted to ask you guys. Which exam board are you doing for English? You can. No. I mean, I would if I could, but yeah. AQA. Okay, AQA. What? I might have a present for you guys. Basically, I have this structure. Become your English tutor. Well, you say that. I have a year 11 student on Wednesdays, and basically we went through a kind of structure for their language paper 1 and paper 2, and she managed to get very high on her mock grades. So I might share that in like a video or something. Yeah. You haven't been taught circle theorems? Jesus Christ. Alright. You need to check your spec, by the way, because there's probably quite a lot they haven't told you. So there's some statistic stuff I'm willing to bet they haven't done. Just yet. The man of many talents. What can I say? But yeah, I might do it in like a video or something. I haven't taught like everything. Yeah. That sucks. That royally sucks. Oh well. But yeah, okay. It's good that you... Okay. So what I'll do then is... I don't know if I'll do it as a live stream, maybe? They're nerfing you. They are. They need to hold you back. They can't get you that 100%, you know? I don't know if I'll do this as like a live lesson or I'll just record it as like a video. But either one, I actually have... I have structures for basically question 1 through 5 for paper 1 and paper 2. And the student did pretty well. And she said it was because of the structure. I don't know. But either way, I'll make that video. Am I good at English? I think I'm okay. I think I'm pretty good at it. English literature is harder for me because there are so many different books they can give you that the ones I studied at school and the ones I like tutored might not be the same ones as you guys. Like there's so many different ones. Like Of Mice and Men and Inspector Calls I'm fine with. Macbeth is okay as well, but that's an English mutually exclusive. I don't know, man. I read a lot of books, so I don't know if that helped me with English or something. Like the quality of your English is a big part of like GCSE English. Shockingly, I know. The rest of it's memory, and I'm quite good at memory. Oh man, Lord of the Flies. Yeah, see, I haven't actually even read the book Lord of the Flies, so I would have to read that if I wanted to try and teach you it. I love literature. It's just that there's so many different books they can give you. It's a bit tricky to keep up with it. You will not revise it? Oh, come on, Evie. You can't just focus on what you're good at. Read it if you want to fall asleep. I feel like... No, that's Heart of Darkness, something. I've never mind. Yeah, well. Until I get your 9. Exactly. So what I can do then... But the thing is, English language, that's universal. That's the same for everyone, pretty much. So I could upload some stuff on English language too. Literature, you might be on your own on that one, not gonna lie. I don't know if I'll be able to... I don't know how many books I can read. I could probably share resources and stuff, but other than that. Okay, honestly, given how quickly you guys got the circle one, I think this 4 marker might be a bit of a softball for you. Might be a bit easy. But I got conned by someone on TikTok for English language help. Oh, did you pay like a tutor or something? You want me to do this one? I'm assuming you mean the maths one, right? Do this one, okay. But yeah, the English video, I'll make one. I'll make two, well, 2 technically. You bought a structure. People pay for them? Damn. Oh, okay. Well, the one I'm going to give you is going to be free, so don't worry about that. I'll go through it in the video to do it properly. Okay. That's good. I actually kind of got a creator's block recently where I wasn't sure what kind of videos to make, so that's given me a bit of hope. I can make some English language videos in the meantime. I'll make one for paper 1 and one for paper 2, and if it's useful, and I won't charge you for it. Okay, so with this one, if you ever see physics videos, I should definitely get on. That's actually a really good point. Hang on, let me just... I feel like this is like my lesson instead of your lesson at this point. Okay, anyways, physics is my jam. I love physics so much. Anyways, so whenever you see these 2 parallel lines like this, you should be thinking of Z, F, and C angles, but bear in mind you can't call them that in the exam. So although I'm saying Z, F, and C angles, never call them that in the exam. They're called alternate angles, corresponding angles, and co-interior angles, respectively. Make sure you refer to them by their proper names. So, if I look here, can you see that D to E to A to B looks like a big Z, right? So whenever you're unsure of what to do in these kinds of questions, just start working out angles. But I can quite easily say that this is 54 degrees. And again, what I'd write is 54 degrees because alternate angles. And yeah, I probably shouldn't have capitalized it, but, you know, whatever. YOLO, right? Okay. The next one is one that doesn't really come up that often. But basically, if you make an X with 2 straight lines, then their opposite angles are actually equal to each other. Like this. Okay? And what this is called is vertically opposite angles. So you might not have seen, it doesn't really come up that often. But it is technically on your spec, which again is why I think they might try and throw it at you this year. Now, you might be thinking vertically opposite, but it's also the horizontal ones. I know the naming sucks, but yeah. So can you see here, this is just made, this X kind of shape is made up of the same 2 lines. So that means this angle here is 70 degrees because of vertically opposite angles again. So far you would get 2 marks, right? For working out this angle, and a reason, okay? So now, I can work out this angle, right? And that would be my 3rd mark. Why? Because angles in a triangle add up to 180. So this one here is just 180 minus 70. Minus. Let me know if I'm going too quickly, by the way. There's a bit of a delay on the chat, so I can't actually tell when you guys want me to stop and talk. So 180 minus 70 is 110. Minus 50 would be 160, so that would be 156. I'm an idiot. Did I really say 156? 56 degrees. Alright. Okay. 56 degrees, not 156. Cool. And then for the final mark, all you have to do is say that X is equal to 180 minus 56, which is 124. Because angles on a straight line add up to 180. So if you don't give a reason for any part of that working out, you drop the mark. Okay, so even if you're right, you drop it. So again, this is just angles on a straight line. So angles in a triangle, angles on a straight line, vertically opposite, alternate angles. It's a lot of writing, but it is 4 marks, so I guess it's kind of expected. Okay, cool. Any questions about that at all? Perfect. Good. Perfect, yeah. Is x 124? Yeah, x is 124. Oh, hello, Alia, how are you? I hope that was okay. So yeah, 4 marks is a bit beefy, but when it does say give a reason for each stage of your working, a common question I get is, do I have to? The answer is yes. Every single stage you need to give a justification for it, which is unfortunate, but you know. Now this one, yeah, this one looked fun. It's a 4 marker, which I just have to check. Evie, you're on it. There we are. Not bad. So the first thing you want to do is work out the total interior angles. So what I mean by this is what the angles in a shape add up to. And the formula is n minus 2 times 180, where n is the number of sides. How many sides are in a pentagon? 5. 5 minus 2, 3. Times 180, 540 degrees. Good, I'm glad. This formula, so with this formula, whenever I ask students like in schools or in tuition, they don't recognise it and they say they've never seen it. Now, of course, some of the time they've just forgotten, but sometimes they've just never taught it. This comes in clutch sometimes. Not always. It's not. The thing is, so with like the GCSE and everything, since there's so much content, your school's not going to finish all of it. So the bits that don't come up that much, they skip. But this is a 4-mark question, which you can't do without this. It's impossible. So, yeah. So, because it's a regular shape, exactly, it's a God formula. Only things your teacher taught. Well, there you go. At least I did something, right? If it's regular, it means all of the sides and angles are the same. So each one of these angles here are going to be 540 divided by 5, which is 108 degrees. If you're wondering how I did that, I just divided it by 10 and then doubled it. Divided by 10 is 54, double it is 108. I can't remember if this was a calculator paper or not, so I'm just going to assume it isn't. Yep. So, now here's going to be the interesting thing, right? This overall angle is 108 degrees. This tiny part inside here is going to be half that. Anyone unsure why? Actually, I didn't even explain it. This is a line of symmetry, which means it should bisect the angles that it goes through. Just like it bisects the sides it goes through. That's why the inside bit's 54. Just for anyone that was wondering. Okay. Now this angle here is 90 degrees. Why? Because when you draw a line of symmetry, any angles it goes through, it bisects. So it cuts them in half. Any sides it goes through, it bisects. Does it have to be symmetrical to assume that? Yes, because the only reason why. Okay, I'll answer Evie's questions first. So the reason why I can do this is because they tell me it's a line of it's a line of symmetry. That's why I know it cuts it in half. That's why I know it has to be symmetrical. If these weren't lines of symmetry, I wouldn't be able to do that. And Mar, to answer your question, Evie already did. It means to cut something in half. The only way you can cut something in half is at a 90-degree angle. So they're perpendicular bisectors. Perpendicular, meet at 90 degrees. Bisect, to cut in two, or to cut in half. That's a really good question. So if it looks like a line of symmetry, can you assume? Unfortunately, in maths, just because something looks like it's something, you can't assume it. No. Never assume. If they don't tell you, or it's like implied because of circle theorems or something like that, you can't assume. How do you get the right angle? Good question. So with a line of... God, I keep calling it a line of best fit. With a line of symmetry, any sides it goes through, it's going to perpendicularly bisect. So it's going to meet at 90 degrees. That's why. It has to cut it in half, which means it meets at 90 degrees. 180 over 2 as it's a straight line. Yeah. If it's a circle theorem, then yeah, you can, because it will tell you like radii and tangents meet at 90 degrees. So they might not show you it's 90 degrees, but they'll tell you it's a tangent. And you can see if it's a radius. That's what I mean by using circle theorems. But in general, you can't assume things because of this thing up here. Diagram not accurately drawn. Which means even if they draw it looking like a 90 degree, or looking like it's symmetrical, doesn't mean it is. So they have to tell you, basically. Absolutely, Evie, I can. Well, I can try to anyway. Okay, the reason why I'm doing all this, by the way, is when I first looked at this question, I didn't know what to do, if I'm making a confession. So I've started working out stuff, and from there, I can see what I need to do now. I'm going to work out this angle here. And that angle, let's just call it X. Oh, no, don't call it X. Let's call it Y. Is the third angle in a triangle. So I'm going to do 180, minus 90, minus 54. 180 minus 90 is 90, minus 54 is 36 degrees. Now the reason why I worked that out is because of the vertically opposite angles. So if you look, this is an X shape made from two straight lines. Hello, Bucket. Yep. You're getting it correct. Then what I need to do is I know that this angle up here is going to be the exact same as X. So what I can do is I can do 360 minus 36. And yeah, hello Bucket, how are you? Minus 36 again. So minus 72, which would be 188. Right? Yes? So Bucket, what we're doing is I've actually collected a bunch of different questions that were quite tricky. So I'm going through just a selection of different questions. So it's not actually a specific paper, if that makes sense. Well, 180 minus y, much less effort. That is very true, Evie. Oh yeah, because angle's on a straight line. Yeah. You're right, that's actually easier. And then divide by 2, which is 94 degrees. Which is our answer. No worries, Bucket. I have an eye, yeah, well. Apparently I don't. Hopefully that makes sense. It's a 4-mark question, a bit involved. What Evie said is actually easier. So if you look, it's just a straight line, so you could just do, you know, angles on a straight line add up to 180. That's a very good point. Any questions at all? So I thought this was a fairly unique question, in my opinion. You know, fairly different. So I thought it was worth going through. Okay. Unique in a bad way. Yeah, in a bad way. Lila, yeah, I'd say so. What I'd have, if you... It's been a couple of months since I've taught chemistry, to be honest. Because I don't really have any science pupils anymore. But I used to be able to do them very well. Yeah. I don't know. I think I can explain things decently well. I don't think I'm like smarter than anyone or anything else like that though. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, next question then. This one is another interesting one, I thought. So it's a humble 4-marker, just like we've been doing for the past while. You have to work out what x is. Doesn't seem too tricky, right? Some kind of glitch in the matrix. These are higher questions, Bucket. Although there is a bit of overlap. This question specifically is definitely a higher question. So Katoa, interesting. Well done, Bucket. Damn. Well done, Bucket. Not bad So yeah, you're 100% correct. Well done. I thought that'd take a bit longer. So Evie, Lila, you're correct. SOHCAHTOA, and then you can use. You're going to use SOHCAHTOA in order to find out what the angle is. But as Bucket pointed out, we need to know one other side in order to work out an angle using trig. So we can use the sine rule. Wait. Oh, okay, I think I see what you mean. Oh, I see, yeah. That works as well, Evie, yeah. So you could use it as like... Yeah, not quite Pythagoras, Bucket, but that was a valiant effort. The intended solution is to use the sine rule. Yeah, no worries, no worries. The intended solution is to use the sine rule, but Evie's pointed something out, which is fairly interesting. You could make this one big right angle triangle and use trig to work out what this angle is and subtract 30. Yeah. Although it wouldn't be 17.6. It'd be 10.4 plus 5.2, which is 15.2. 15.6. Yeah, there are two ways to do this then, yeah. So the way that Evie's talking about is if you make it one big triangle. It's 10.4 plus 5.2, which is 15.6. This is very clever. And 18. So what you can do is work out this angle and then just subtract 30 from it to get x, which is 100% valid. 100% valid. How do you even do sine rule for this? Where's the angle you need for DC? What you would do... Yeah, I mean, that might take a bit more... So, the reason why I said sine rule is I'd use the sine rule to work out this angle, and this angle would just be 180 minus that angle, and then we can just work out x from there. Right? Yeah, Mark, I can do that. Absolutely. We'll finish in a second. Evie's way is probably the easiest. So there's the sine rule. There are two ways. You can work out this length and then do that, but that takes a bit longer. I was going to work out this angle, just doing 180 minus it, then just doing 180 minus 90 minus that angle. But, you know what? I'll bow my head. I think that this is the easier way to do it. You are. You're actually doing a much better job than I am. So since it's O and H, we're going to use so we're going to use sine y equals opposite 15.6 over 18. Put you in the face cam. Oh man, I should do that actually. I'll just have a screenshot of like your name and just shove you in the bottom right instead. I do have, this is obviously a calculator question because it's trig. All that, so inverse sine 15.6 over 18. That's 60 point blah blah blah. And then if x is just going to be whatever that is minus 30. It's actually kind of interesting that it's basically the same number, but yeah. 30.1 degrees, let's make it. Your dream is a maths question about you. Interesting. Okay. And how many more questions did I get? I think I got way too many questions, by the way. Easy Edexcel maths paper. Relatable. Very relatable. How many more did I get? Oh, God. Alright, yeah. I may have gotten a few too many. Considering we only have... Okay, we have 20 minutes, that's fine. Let's go a bit faster. So, I'm not marking this year, no. Not as far as I'm aware. Reverse cosine rule. The problem with that, Lila, is you need to have a third side. Yeah. So this is the angle we want to work out. You can call it x or whatever the hell you want to call it. They've given me that the area is 18. So what we can use is you can use area equals a half AB sine C. A and B are just the two sides that make up whatever your angle C is. So we can work out what the angle is from there, and we can use that to work out the other one. Ward is here. Nice. So 18 equals half 7 times 8 sine c. I'm going to simplify this a little bit before we continue. So that would be half times 8, which is 4, times 7, which is 28. Don't know why that took me a bit of time, but you know. So c is just going to be the inverse sine 18 over 28. So let's just change this. Oh, okay, that is, so this thing here is just, I just call it the area formula. Where does the half go? Yeah. Why is it inverse sine? Okay, I skipped a step. So the half, I actually just worked out what a half times 7 times 8 is, EV. So a half times 8 is 4, 4 times 7 is 28. In terms of why is it inverse sine, if I continue from over here, I divide both sides by 28. And then to get rid of the sine, I just did inverse sine. It is to find the angle, yeah. Well done, Bucket. So yeah, that's where I got that from. 7 times 8 is 28, yeah. No worries. I probably shouldn't skip steps. That is pretty much just 40 degrees exactly. So I'm just going to leave it as 40 degrees. Okay. And what we can do from there is I'm going to use the sine rule to work out x, but before I do that, I need to work out either this side or this angle. This angle is much easier because otherwise I have to use the cosine rule, and I'm okay with that. No, thank you. So 180. Oh, I'm an idiot. Never mind, I can't do that. Oops. So I have to do the other way. So we have two sides, we have an angle. I'm just going to make sure I know what we have. God. Yeah. So we can use the cosine rule. Yeah, God. Alright. So the cosine rule is we're going to label this A, B, and C, and this is capital A. So A squared equals B squared plus C squared. This is a very involved question. I'm hoping I haven't done something too tedious. Okay. Oh boy. Alright. Why did I pick angle ABC to be sine C? Yeah. Okay, so I'll answer Mar's question first. The reason why I chose this to be angle C is because the formula half AB sine C, you have to use two sides and the angle between them. So the only sides we have are 7 and 8, so it has to be this angle here. Bucket, to answer your question, they haven't actually told, as far as I'm aware, they haven't told us that you're getting a formula sheet in general, but it is normally at the beginning of the exam paper. So, but they specifically told us a couple months ago that they tried to remind us that you don't have to get a formula sheet in the exam, and they made the point very, very clear. Oh, okay. Oh, perfect, Mar. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, good. Never mind then. You get it on the formula sheet. But yeah, they made it earlier. How did you label the sides A, B, and C? Okay. So, the way I labelled the sides is, with the cosine rule, the side that I want is always lowercase a. Always. That means the angle has to be capital A. Has to be. B and C, it doesn't matter which way around you put it. I could have just moved them round, and it would be the same thing, right? Because you're only adding and timesing them, so the order doesn't matter. The only ones that matter are A. No problem. Otherwise, you have to memorize all the different versions, and screw that. You don't need to. You never need to. Okay, so we have 7 squared plus 8 squared. God, it's so much harder to use a calculator on a keyboard. Cos 40, I have to click cos. 27, and then, okay, I'll write that out quickly, but then we're just taking the square root because we don't want the side squared, of course. 5.22, so it wants it to 3 significant figures, so I'm going to leave it to 5.22. Yeah. My phone, if I rotate the calculator, it just gives me a scientific one. Yeah. Like if I open my phone to the calculator, I can turn it to the right and I can do like sine, cos, square roots, etc. Which is handy, yeah. Okay. Damn, this question... Oh, it's 6 marks. Whoops. That makes sense. That makes sense. So you would get 2 marks for this first bit, 2 marks for this second bit, and you get 2 marks for the last bit. The last bit is you'd have to use the sine rule. So in terms of the sine rule, again, it doesn't really matter which way you label it. The only thing that matters is that capital A is opposite lowercase a, capital B is opposite lowercase b, and so on. Other than that, it doesn't matter. Okay? Oh dear God, okay, that's 5.22, okay? So we can call it whatever we want, right? So if you want, I'll keep the labeling that this is A, which means this is A. The other side, it doesn't matter. I'm going to call it B and B, right? Well, this is technically going to be X. So what that will look like, I'm going to move this down a bit, and I'm going to do the new working out up there, because I don't want to confuse you guys. The sine rule just says that, depending on what you're working out, that is extremely specific, Lila. But yeah, we'll have to do it probably next lesson. But I'll write that down. I'll add it to the list of questions. June 2019, paper 3, AQA. Oh, question 27. That would help. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, in this case, we have sine 40 over 5.22, right? Because A is 40, that is 5.22. I'll have time to answer something somewhat small, yeah. B is, sorry, and then sine x, God, I'm losing my marbles, okay, over 8, right? Just for those two. So if I times both sides by 8, I'm going to get sine x equals 8 sine 40 over 5.22, and then all I do is I inverse sine both sides. And then we need to do it to 3 significant figures. Okay. So, inverse sine that. Okay, I'm in degrees mode, good. And that would be 80.1 to 3 significant figures. That is a 6-mark question. Not bad. Pretty chunky question, not gonna lie. But honestly, this is kind of the perfect question, because in terms of advanced trig, you use everything. Use the area of a triangle formula, use the cosine rule formula, and use the sine rule formula. That's literally all of advanced trig. So that's actually like the perfect grade 6 question, to be honest. Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I was going through. I was like, there's no way this is a 4-mark question. And then, yeah, 6 marks makes a lot of sense, actually. A lot of sense. Okay. We'll do one more question, then we'll take the questions from you guys. Oh, it looks like I really cropped this badly. Whoops. Well, you know. I always aim to impress. Damn it. Okay. So. I know, honestly. Okay, this question is 4 marks. Okay, that's a bit more human. So again, if you have 2 parallel lines like this, you're always thinking of Z, F, and C angles. But again, never, ever, ever call them Z, F, or C angles. Ever. Never call them that. You call them alternate, corresponding, and co-interior. Otherwise, you'll get no marks. Okay? So, FBC is 70. Good. So, as Bucket said, this is going to be a Z angle. BFC yeah, well done. Very good. He was doing it faster than I can. Interesting. That's actually not the way I was going to do it. I was going to do it this way. Fair enough, yeah. Both these are isosceles, 70 degrees. Well done. Not bad at all. If anyone didn't keep up with that... So again, you need to do the reasonings, right? So the first thing you do is you would say FBC or CBF, whatever you want to call it, is 70 degrees. Reason, alternate angles are equal. Okay? Why is this 70 degrees? Why is BFC 70 degrees? Base angles of an isosceles triangle are equal. Yeah, there are. That's why I like when maths gets a bit further on. That's why I think you guys will like A-level maths if you pick it. Because there's a lot more creativity involved. You get a bit more leeway with what you have to do. It's a bit more interesting. Tiny bit more interesting. Okay. Not bad. Is anyone unsure of the reasons, or is that all okay? Because that was really impressive. That was fast. Imaginary numbers, yep. Technically, that's only further maths, so don't worry about it. Never picking A-level maths ever? Fair enough. It's tricky. I'm not going to lie to you. So don't take it unless you need it or you really like maths. So what we do, I do have more questions, but what we'll do is we'll save them for next week. I'll add on the questions that you guys put in the chat. I wrote them as we went along. I'll also make sure I get those AQA, well, the English language videos out. Hopefully, I'll record them this week, and I'll try and jam them in before next week for fun. But you guys had a few questions. So Mayu had one, and also Evie. Best GCSE question ever. Okay. I could never. Barely doing GCSE. Ma, honestly, you seem pretty on it. Yeah. Capture recapture's fun. Yeah. I don't recall if we've done that in a previous lesson, actually. No, we haven't. Okay, yeah, we can definitely do it. The 10 hardest... Oh, wait, you want me to look at this YouTube video? And go to that time? Okay. Is it okay for me to live stream someone else's? Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. Yeah, I'll put it into YouTube. I'm doing it now. I'll bring it over. Okay, Ma, I'll look it up in a second.
Yes.
I'm going to have to mute the audio, I'm assuming. I'm too new at this stuff, I don't know. I know, right? Lila, come on. Oh, man. Evie, if I get arrested for this, it's your fault, okay? That's why there's no stream next week. I'll be arrested. And you said 41, 44. I did that almost perfectly. Cool. And line 3, he has labelled it as X because there's an unknown quantity. Yeah. Yeah, it's a scalar, yeah. Yeah. Plenty of time to sit and do maths in a jail cell. Yep. Thanks for that thought, Lila. I really appreciate it. I mean, there's nothing more that I love doing than just doing maths over and over again. Yeah. It's going to be a scalar because if it's a straight line, then that means it's parallel. So it has a scalar... Oh, God. It's multiplied by a scalar. PO box so I can send you chalk. Oh, I appreciate that. That's actually very wholesome. That's the nicest thing anyone said to me in a while. Okay, okay, yeah. So Corbett Maths, coordinate geometry. Let's have a look, see at this. Corbett Maths. Oh, come on, I just had it. Yeah. Is it bad to do the super bad questions? I feel like they're making me a bit dense. Yeah, why not, right? Can I send my GCSE paper? Sure thing, right? Why not? Question 7. Is this it, Ma? Okay, let me copy it over and then we can scribble on it. Snipping tool, good old fashioned. Let's put it over here to the side. Good Lord, Lila, I haven't even had a chance to read the question. Can you relax? But she is 100% correct. What you'd want to do is this total line here has been split up into 7 parts. The reason why we get 7 is we just add these together. Right? Cool. Lila, you are 100% correct. So now what we're going to do is we take the difference in the x-coordinate, so that's 13 minus 8, which is 21. And we're going to take, if you want to work out what q is, we're going to take 2/7 of that number. Does that make sense, Ma? So again, it's broken up into 7 parts. I'm going to divide it by 7, which is 3. So each part's worth 3. So the x-coordinate is, because it's 2, we're going to do 2 times 3. I haven't explained this very well, so just let me know if you're okay with that. We had mocks, it was fine until paper 3, where it's like dipping your body into Dante's Inferno. The reason why paper 3 is so tricky is because it's so random. It's all of the excess topics they don't do in paper 1 and 2, and then stats as well, which tends to not get covered by schools. Mara, are you okay with this so far? So actually, here's a good way to put it. If I draw a dotted line, this total length here is 21. Oh, you get it. Okay, perfect, cool. So then this would be 2/7 of it. Yeah. It's the leftovers of math. It literally is. The difference between -3 and -4. So I'm going to make it positive. It's going to be 7. And again, we're going to divide by 7, which is 1, times by 2 was 2. So the y-coordinate is 2. The x-coordinate is 6. Does that make sense? So again, if the whole line is broken up into 7 parts, this is 2 parts of that. So you just take the height and the length and split it into 7 parts. Is it the overall bit, or where did the 2 come from? As in, for the y-coordinate here, this 2. Why do plants hate maths? I have no idea. I hate paper 3. Yeah, so the times by 2 is for the same reason as down here. And yeah, because there's a 2 here, we're multiplying all of our parts by 2. So we did 1 times 2 here. Maybe I should have written it the other way around. Right, so it equals 1, and then we do 2 times 1, which equals 2. Gives them square roots. Not bad. I'm stealing that, by the way. I'm 100% stealing it. So the reason why you don't times it by 5 is because if we break up this line into 7 pieces, Q is getting 2 of the pieces, Q to R is getting 5. So we only care about the 2 parts here. Because Q is getting the 2. More crimes to get you into maths jail. Well, what can I say, you know? If you're going to get arrested for one thing, you may as well get arrested for all the things, right? Oh, I see it, thank you. You're very welcome, Mar. Perfect. Okay, I think that was a really productive lesson. Not bad. I feel good after that one. No worries, Bucket, I'm going to leave as well, but you're very welcome. Anarchy Mindset, Mitchell. Yeah, well, you know. P3 mega lesson. I'm assuming that's... Wait, is that paper 3 or physics 3? Take the cosine rule to the grave, I guess. I've said that a lot. Oh, God, look at that wonderful potato-looking thing. Paper 3, yeah? You should be those Greek philosophers on YouTube. You're very welcome, Mar. You're welcome, everyone. Appreciate a space lesson. Ooh. You have no idea how much space lesson makes me happy. You're very welcome. See you later, Bucket. You wouldn't believe it. I love it. Left-hand rule. The left-hand rule. Left-hand rule. Do you know, I have my degree is in astrophysics. I love space. Space is my jam. Okay, I love that stuff. Dynamic equilibrium. I could do that. I could cover it, yeah, because I did thermodynamics quite a lot in my physics degree. Teach you all of space. Left-hand rule. Okay. Dynamic equilibrium. Magnet. Oh my God. Okay, guys. Okay. Do you remember how I said in the beginning that I was getting lost for ideas? Nice. All right. Dynamic equilibrium. Let's write it all down. Honestly, I kind of relate to that. That's fine. Oh, God. Okay, I'll read that later. It's fine. All of physics. Centripetal motion. All of it. See you later, Bucket. Have a good evening. God. Okay. I think that's enough for now. Okay, but yeah, the force thing. Yeah, I know what you mean by centripetal motion. Okay. See you later, Alia. Have a good evening. Yeah, actually, I hope you guys all have a good evening. I've got some ideas. I'll try and get some of these videos out to you ASAP. Or even maybe some live lessons. Who knows? Anything's possible. You're very welcome. See you all later. And enjoy the rest of your half term as well. See me in jail? Thank you. I appreciate that. I need the visitors. You're very welcome, Lila. Very welcome. Okay.